Hello everyone, this is CJ Novo 992 and today we're back from a brand new video. Today's our video. Not only are we here for a plastic park extravaganza, but we're here to talk about and preview a game which could see a club record broken. Touch wood, I haven't went ahead and jinxed that, but before we go any further on with today's video, let's shout out the madmen themselves. Then shall we? And shout out the channel sponsors, OneFootball, who helped the channel so much behind the scenes. So if you do want a free footballing app, that link, as always, is down there in the description below. Business time, however, and diving right in to the old oppositional preview, we face a Hamilton side who have been pretty much getting their tummy tucked all season long. And it started in the first game of the season as this youthful Hamilton side was ran over 5-1 versus Celtic before back-to-back 1-0 home losses to Ross County and St Mirren. Now, to be fair, they were due to play Aberdeen in between the Ross County and St Mirren game, but you all know what happened with that. Postponed. So, actually only leaves us with one other game to talk about, and what's absolutely mental about that game from Hamilton is it was their worst performance of the season, even worse than the 5-1 pumping they received for Celtic. But what's mental about that is the game they went and won. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, if that isn't the most Hamilton thing of all time, I don't know what is, because you look back in the 1-0 losses at home, they were getting shots off, they were creating opportunities, but if you look in that Motherwell game, it was a derby match and Motherwell bossed every single start apart from the one that mattered, and that was the scoreline, and Hamilton just showed why we all hate them, to be fair. Dug in defensively and waited for their opportunity, and then they sprung with the counter-attack and ended up winning the game with the last couple minutes. And that was at Fir Park as well. That was the game Motherwell was supposed to get back on track, but Hamilton just went nah. So I guess you could say it's probably the most Rangers thing possible, that we can be playing a team who's lost 3 of the last 4 matches, but are actually coming into this game versus Rangers upbeat and confident that they'll be able to do things. And that's what a lot of the talk is from the Hamilton perspective, building off that performance, forgetting everything else that happened. Look at that performance right there versus Motherwell in that derby game at Fir Park. Build on the grit and determination and build on the ability to hang in there without the football, because this is a very, very young Hamilton side. They've not really got as many leaders and all that that's out there that has been over the last couple of seasons that's been able to dig in deep and get them through it. This is a very, very young Hamilton side, and they are learning on the job, and I'm sure we're going to be seeing nearly a carbon copy of what they did versus Motherwell in this game versus us. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, shock horror, CJ, a team playing Rangers playing defensive, son? Never seen that before, and you're completely right, it is defensive, but what makes this Hamilton side a little bit different than what we've faced so far this season is how they set up and how they try and break out of the deep defensive play, because we've played pretty much everyone so far this season that's had one player up front and they've just fired long balls. But Hamilton are actually different than that, because every single game this season they've set up in a 4-4-2 that, yes, does drop into pretty much 5 at the back every single time they're defending, but instead of getting one of the forwards to drop into the midfield and make it your 6-3-1 that we see week in and week out, they actually keep the 2 forwards up the park, and one of them drops a wee bit deeper to try and win any clearances or any knocks away that the defence will get, but the other one actually drifts a wee bit wider and tries to create space and gaps between the 2 centre halves that they're up against, and that's what they've done versus Motherwell quite a lot. One dropped a wee bit deeper, the other one went a wee bit wider just to stretch the centre backs and have an option to get them behind rather than just the lump up to the park to the big one. Which I'm quite interested to see how Rangers set up and go about that. Is it going to be Jacko on one side to protect that side and Camaro on the other as their 2 fullbacks bomb forward? That's probably how it's going to be setting up, but it's going to be interesting to see. But regarding the actual Hamilton news and finishing up this Hamilton preview, we do have a couple of team updates to give you. Club captain Easton is obviously ruled out. He's still going to be out until pretty much after the winter break, but he isn't the only one, as Will Collar and Ronald Hughes are also out of the game as well, so we may see a wee shuffling of the decks as they host Rangers on that surface. But speaking of Rangers, let's dive over and speak about what matters most then, shall we? And sort of starting off the old Rangers side of today's video, I want to kind of peel it back to the way I started today's video, because the fact that we are going for an all-time club record isn't really getting the love and respect it truly deserves, in my opinion, and these players deserve. Because when you actually think about it, what a carrot to have in front of you as a Rangers football player, to put your names in the all-time record books and be there forever, long after you eventually move on through the football club. What a carrot and opportunity for Rangers, but also, if you think about it from the other side, what a carrot and opportunity for Hamilton to be the team to make sure that Disney happened, because we all know how this league works, ladies and gentlemen. There's winners and there's teams that just try to slow down the winners. So I just hope we didn't come into this game thinking our shit doesn't stink and we're actually at it from the very first whistle to the last, because they'll be chewing at the bit to say they were the ones to stop us. Speaking of stop, by the way, there shows no signs of stopping. Talking about Alfredo Morelos, that's right, the conversation, the discussion, it just goes on. Because the lad who was dropped last week for not being at it, not trying hard enough and training hard enough to pull on the Rangers shirt, has had a good week of training and he's back amongst the selection. That's right, and that comes directly from Steven Gerrard in this week's press conference. He confirmed that Morelos has worked very hard in training and he's back amongst the selection, which to me, again, this is just my opinion, and I know I'm going to hurt a lot of people because we all love Alfredo Morelos. I just hope the fact that, yes, it's great that he's working hard, I just hope he doesn't walk right into the starting 11. I'd play the exact same team pretty much that went ahead and won versus Kilmarnock, because neither Cedric or Roof deserve to be dropped, and they continue to work hard, and they actually want to be here. And listen, Morelos is a truly fantastic player, and I'm not trying to say or take anything away from his football and ability, but the words that Steven Gerrard said last week still rings in my ear. We need the players who's starting games for Rangers to actually want to be here, and who actually wants to win things for here, not win moves elsewhere. So I don't know which stage of grief I'm in about Morelos leaving this summer. I don't have a clue, but all I do know is I didn't want to see him walk right into that starting 11. Now, am I sitting here saying stick him in the reserves and let him sit there until he eventually moves on to whether it is the French league or not? No, of course not. As we mentioned, Morelos is a fantastic player, and while he is here and as he is knuckling down in training, which he has done this week, what an asset that could be for us as a football club, because you look at it now with increased substitutions, there's plenty of opportunities now to bring on Alfredo Morelos and inject him into a game of football. Because you think about it from this perspective, right? If we're against a team who's digging in deep, defending, chasing everything down and throwing their bodies on the line for 60, 70 minutes, and we still need a goal, can you imagine as they deep breathe and they look up and they look over and they see Alfredo Morelos, who's absolutely pissed off that he's no starting games and he's fully fresh, jogging on the park? Oh my sweet 55. And again, this is just my opinion, but I think that role right there for Morelos could be exactly what we need, but also what the wee man needs as well, because if he knows he can't just walk into the starting 11 whenever he feels like it, whenever he wants to train, he's going to knuckle down, he's going to have to fight and graft for it, and he's going to need to make an impression with every single minute that he does get on the park, and that could give him the opportunity, and that could give him the motivation to get back to his absolute best. And him being at his best, doing things on the park, being an asset to Rangers, is exactly the way the wee man deserves to be leaving this football club, because he's been pretty damn good for us, let's say that, to the very, very least. When we didn't have as talented players as we had over the last year or so, he's been with a couple of iffy squads to Rangers, but he's put us on his back and he's carried us to hell of a lot of points. Has he let us down on occasion? Has he let himself go a wee bits and done disappointing things like the whole Hearts thing before a cup final arriving late? Absolutely. He's certainly made his mistakes, but he's came, he's grafted, he's worked hard, he's gave us a lot of smiles, and I think the smiles right there should be how it ends for Alfredo Morelos when he eventually does go. Not sitting in, no getting picked in squads because he's not training hard enough. That shouldn't be the way he goes out. So that's my thoughts and opinions on Alfredo Morelos being back in the old mixer. I still think he could be a fantastic asset to this football club, but as a bench and impact player to lift the roof when we actually need it. Pun not intended, by the way, but what is intended is that bench role for Morelos, because I think our starting 11 and the majority of our minutes has to go to the players that's going to be here in the future to build that chemistry with the rest of the team. Now, with me having my say in it, now I hand the reins over to you guys. Feel free to shout at me and tell me I'm completely wrong, because one, you shout at me all the time anyway, and two, I pretty much always deserve it because I am always wrong. And I'm just hoping by this time tomorrow, is it? Aye, but this time tomorrow we can all be sitting here saying that Alfredo Morelos started and Morelos went ahead and scored a hat-trick. That would be a beautiful backfiring. But moving on from the Morelos, we did get a couple of updates regarding the squad, and unfortunately we have to start off with a bit of a sour note that's going to make a lot of people unhappy in case you haven't heard the news already, and that's of course the fact that Joe Aribo is officially ruled out of this game versus Hamilton. There was a hell of a lot of hopes and prayers that he would be back in the mixer, but Gerrard has confirmed he will play no part in the game tomorrow. Now, to stop the rumour mill, to stop the worries, nothing like, there's no relapse of injury, there's nothing when else happened at training, there's nothing wrong with Joe Aribo. I imagine it's simply a precautious move from Rangers and Steven Gerrard, and I'm sure that horrific plastic part played its part in that decision to make sure Aribo doesn't touch that surface. But don't worry, I do have a bit of good news for yous. I wouldn't leave yous like that. Big Leon Balogun is back available and back in line for the old starting 11 spot. Now, there's nothing confirmed, as always, as it's Steven Gerrard, which way he's gone, but he did talk about the headaches that he has now for selection, and I just love that we are there as a football club now where it is genuinely a coin toss who starts that left centre-back spot, because you've got big Leon Balogun, who's looked brilliant for his game and a half so far this season, and you've got Helander, who's looked brilliant for his 2 games and a half this season. So aye, it's an interesting discussion. It's going to be a very interesting selection as well to see who he goes with in that spot. Speaking of interesting decisions to see who he goes with, we also got more good news that Alan McGregor has been back at training all week and he's fully fit and fighting for that starting spot. And again, the headache is there for Steven Gerrard. They talked about the battle that is going on week in and week out, in fact day in, day out in training. It's Alan McGregor versus John McLaughlin. That is the battle, and we're going to see who's winning it so far with who he selects. Now, both are raring and wanting to start. Now, you long-term viewers of the channel know exactly where I am going with this. I've led down this cheeky wee corridor because there is a question of the episode to come, and it's about the centre-back spot and it's about the goalkeeping position. If it was up to you, who do you want to see start at left centre-back and as our goalie? Now, whilst you're hopefully getting your thoughts and opinions out there, I will finish up the old team news by letting you know that Jermaine Defoe is officially ruled out again now. There's no relapse with him either. He's on the same timescale and he will be back after international break, progressing very, very well. And also, your man Ines Hadji is back in the mixer now. He is fully fit and raring to go after picking up a little niggle and a knock that made him miss the last game. So with all that being said, now you know just a little bit more about the fixture tomorrow. It's time for me and thee to get our predictions out there, and I'm going to start us off. Well, unless you've already done it, to be fair, which some people do. Bit rude, I was supposed to go first, but I am going to go ahead and predict a bit of a feisty game. I'm thinking Hamilton again are going to be up for that battle because they didn't want to get historyed in the old noggin. They didn't want to be in the record books as the team that allowed Rangers to beat this all-time record. So I'm expecting challenges, I'm expecting a battle, but when we do take the lead in this game, I think we will start to pile on. I think this youthful Hamilton side showed that when you do score against them early in a game, they start to open up the old cracks as they try and go for it. So I'm actually going to go a wee bit higher than I've went in the last couple of days, but still none too crazy. I'm going to go with Rangers 3, Hamilton 0. Now, regarding my goal scorers, it's going to be pretty damn simple. I am going to go with Kamal Roof. I am going to go with your man Ryan Kent, and I'm going for a fullback, but it's not the fullback we all think it is. I'm going the other side. I'm expecting Tavernier to score in this game. And now that me and thee have had their say, let's jump over to Twitter then and hear from the people. Now, there's been 1,516 votes and there's still 30 minutes remaining. That's filthy nation. Thank you so much for getting involved. 2% votes for Hamilton, 3% votes for draw, but the far and away winner with 94% of the vote is a Rangers away win. We're expecting that, so let's see what they're actually saying. The first one comes in from Stevie Brown. Shout out to Andy, by the way. In fact, he said Andy says 3-0, but he's wrong. It'll be 4-0. Battle. I like that. There's a battle between them two as well. Callum Keller said 4-0 to Rangers. Well, he's backing you up, Stevie. And he says, let's go into the break on a high, CJ. That would be nice. Steve writes in 3-0 to Rangers with Roof scoring 2 and Kent getting a goal. John writes in, we either scrape a 1-0 win with a lucky goal or a Barisic free kick, or we win 4-0 with a Kent hat-trick and a big Cedric goal. Rocky was scratching his arse there. I don't know if that came up on the on the mic. You alright, Rocky? He's at it again. Thank you, Rocky, for allowing us to continue. Alex says, can see us struggling on a plastic park with no Aribo, but we'll see it through. 3-0 to the famous with a Itten brace and a cheeky Ryan Kent. Goal. Dave Valentine writes in, I'll say 2-0 Rangers. Another clean sheet. Cedric to get his first goal and a Connor Goldson header. I don't know why whenever anybody mentions a header, I've got to go for it. It's weird, isn't it? I don't know. Really? There's more arse scratch going on here than anything. Troy the Gardener writes in 4-0 to Rangers. Kent to score 2. Cedric and Roof to get the others. Kyle writes in 4-0 to Rangers. Dirty double from Kent, Hadji and Itten to score. And the last 2 or 3 we'll read out in tonight's video score nearer to the bottom to give everyone a chance. First word comes in from Maz, and she writes in, we should 100% keep John in goals for tomorrow, who's been outstanding and has helped us keep our clean sheet. Good omen. We've got quality on the bench today that we may need to bring on with these plastic pitches. We're always iffy in the first 20 minutes, but I'm confident we'll take our chances. Dave writes in, I'm going all in, 5-0. It's time someone took a spanking. And the last one we'll read out in tonight's video comes from, bang, stop it here, and it comes from Bryce. And Bryce writes in 2-0, Hadji and BB. Well, there it is, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. You've heard from the people. You've heard for this nutter right here. And you've heard from me, so all that's left is to wrap up today's video. But a massive thank you to every single person for watching today's video. Hopefully you did enjoy it. And as always, I will see you tomorrow for hopefully a big celebration in one of these. Take it easy, everybody. Thank you for watching, and bye-bye.